Test, test. 1, 2, 2. I'm actually going to switch the screen. This is going to be annoying for you guys, but I'm just switch the screen over to execution stream. Change stream. Applications. There, I'm going to switch you guys over to execution. I know it's annoying, but I just figured if Fat Cat's not here today, I would rather have you guys watching my executions. But I'll try to call out Reed as we're going. Not much Reed now. It does look like we're stuck below all this selling with more balance below us. So I am leaning towards continuation short. It's too early to tell, though. We're still within the first 5 minutes. So I want to see confirmation of a down move. There it is. Big old puke down below the psych price. Not a whole lot of interest down here. There's a little bit of open interest coming in on the bid. But it's not a crazy amount by any means. That's a pretty decent amount. 200 lots. I would not want to see confirmation of an up move. Let's see if we can make a higher high, higher low. Nice, right up to the reclaim. So it could have potentially been a long down here around that 99 area when those bids started stacking, but it would have been hard to get a pullback because you could see it just essentially went straight up on that big buyer. We're at the area of prior selling now, but it looks like we're going to drive right through it. I want to get some good pulse checks in today before I place any trades. Nice drive up from those lows. It could have potentially been a reversal trade down there, but we're just too early into the session for me to want to trade that. That would be pretty aggressive if I did, but on its face, it is a really nice setup down there. It's a bit of a slip range setting up here. If we could get confirmation of a higher high, I would be interested in a pulse check long at 1250. I don't think I would have taken it though, because that's a flat top. I would have wanted to see a higher high definitively. Um, not to say it won't work, but I don't like trading against flat tops. I feel like if there's a resistance there at 14 even, I mean, I would be hurting right now if I was in that trade. So trend is very important to me with this kind of setup. This is a nasty little slip range. It is putting in lower highs, which tells me compression. Which way the compression will break, I have no clue, which is why I'm not trading it. Fat Cat doesn't trade today. I don't know. I haven't heard from him. I can I'll send him a text. Maybe he decided to take a mini vacation after that 14K day on Friday. I wouldn't blame him. Let me change my. I'm gonna change my stream to my OBS, which again is gonna be kind of annoying, but at least you guys can see both my monitors that way. You can see a bit of the price action. I am still just waiting. I don't have any clarity. I haven't seen any good setups yet. It is kind of looking like continuation short here. The medium time frame is now starting to turn red. We got a lot of balance below us. So I would probably start stocking slip favor shorts. That being said, those are a lot harder to get into because when the market's trading lower, it tends to go a lot faster than when it's trading higher, which means that catching pullbacks is a lot trickier, a lot riskier too. So if I don't get any shorts here, then I'm not going to complain. There's a bit of slip setting up here with a nice high node on the offers. So I would probably stock a short 775 or thereabouts. Excuse me. Making a fresh low, so I would probably move my offer up to 650. But like I said earlier, it's hard to catch these pullbacks. This is going to be a pulse check too, by the way. All right, so pulse check short 650. Nice little shove down. I would probably be working the exit at 5 for a nice 6-tick win. It does look like it's a slip rangey kind of market today. What's up, Taco? My first few trades are usually pulse checks. I want to, before I place an actual trade, I want to make sure I have a good read. Again, I would probably be pulse checking short 550. I probably would have missed it because I was reading chat, but I think 550 short is a good short continuation. I'd probably take it out for the point if I could. But to get back to your question, I like to establish that I have a good read on the market first before I place any trades. So in the beginning of my session, you'll see me place a lot more paper trades just because I'm trying to get a read and feel what the flow of the day is like, you know. And so far it's a pretty good read. I've got 2 winning pulse checks. I do like that we're coming down and testing this area of prior buying earlier in the session. We've got a lot of balance above us. I think there could potentially be a reversal long, but before I take that trade, I want to see a lot of interest on the open interest, whether that be trapped sellers or buyers propping the market up. That's kind of my entry signal. So I'm going to wait until I see that entry signal. And I want to be on the right side of the V for something like that. So it blew through that level pretty clearly. I think that reversal trade is invalidated, at least for the time being. So I'm going to keep watching for reversal or sorry, continuation shorts. But if those continuation shorts start getting invalidated, then I think there could potentially be a flip in bias. There's a little bit of bids hitting here, but that's not nearly enough for me. I would want to see like 3 or 400 come in. And right now it's just pretty lethargic. And it's starting to come in, but still it's not quite high enough for me. Let's see if they can hold this slip range, because I do like that buyers are supporting the bottom of this slip range here. If we continually keep making higher lows and higher highs, I think there could be a long reversal here, but still just a little too early to tell. And that's why I want to see a pattern of higher highs, higher lows with bids coming in before I place a trade. We are getting a change in character on the medium time frame here. You can see some bright greens coming in. Same with the 15-minute. If we clear the top of this range, 96s, on some decent buying, I'll be interested in a long. There's the higher high. I do like that there's a 100-lot seller down there who's trapped. I'm going to try the 95 long on a 4-lot micro. Risk the bottom near 92s. And I would like to see us pull back into that reclaim, potentially hit 99s. There's 99s. I'm going to take a partial out here. I'm going to take 2 lots out. Move my stop to break even. And it takes the break even. So I made 32 bucks on that trade. Would like to see it go above 99, but I mean, I made money on the trade, so I'm not complaining. That's why partials are important, because that trade would have came back on me, especially for the reversals. So I apologize you guys can't see my micro DOM, but I can slide it over so you can see it. 32 bucks. Took the partial off at 98.25, break even at 95. See you guys talk to me. Nice. 4 trades, man. Good shit. I'm not too interested in the reversal trade anymore, because now we have a pretty clear pattern of failed reclaims. We tried to reclaim up, we failed. Doesn't mean it won't reverse eventually, but for right now, I don't have a setup. So I'm just going to stock potential continuation shorts. But they got to be really good for me to want to take them. There was a nice little reject off that 95 from earlier. Not really my setup though. I want to see a slip range. See if it comes up and tests it again. There's the test. I'm going to try 94.25 for the short. And it's trying to make a higher high here. There are some offers hitting, but they're just not quite hitting hard enough. I'm going to take that off for a 1 point loss, which I'm pretty comfortable with, honestly. Just because it's getting grindy. You can see this little micro price action right here. It's like super tight grind up. I would like to see that be a quicker reject to the downside. But I would count that as a good loss. I think that was a decent expected value on that trade. On the 30-second chart, we are still technically in a downtrend. We're making lower lows, lower highs. But if we can make a higher high above 99, that'll change. And there's the higher high. So this could potentially be turning into an uptrend through all this reclaim. That being said, though, I'm not going to chase anything. Let's just wait for the slip ranges to set up. It could potentially be range expansion too, if we're counting this as a range. We could have just breached the high and target the lows again, but too early to tell. There is a nice slip range here. I just don't like that we're violating the lows of the slip range, and that high of the slip range is so far away. When I get in on a slip range, I kind of want to see confirmation that it's channeling upwards. Violated the low of the slip range again. Trapped buyer up here. Let's see if they bail him out or not. There's a higher high. Coming down and testing the bottom of the slip range again. It's a little aggressive, but I'm going to pulse check along 96.25. I think I would have got filled on it. The reason I'm not taking the trade is because I don't like that this buyer's trapped above me. Usually when a buyer's trapped like that, it means that he's going to get squeezed to the downside. So I'll pulse check it. Yeah, and it's doing that thing again where it's starting to grind lower. So I would probably flat key it right around here for a 5 tick loss. So just really focusing on that setup quality. That was not a great setup for me to place a live trade. And taking the pulse check gives me information. It tells me that my read is correct. That trade would not be good quality. I like that we came down and tested the lows again at 92, and we appear to be holding. What I don't like is that we're still predominantly red on the medium time frame heat map. I would definitely want to see that change first before I consider longs. And I think there is pretty good confirmation that we are in a range here. I don't have any good setups here. I'm going to take this time. I want to edit a couple keyboard shortcuts real quick. Um, where is how do I cycle between charts again? Is it window? Next chart. I'm going to change that to right arrow. And then previous chart, left arrow. Okay. So what I might do is I might overlap the micro and mini DOM. And then that way I can change between the two. Stationary text. This is mini. Just like 22. Mini. micro. Mini micro. Double check and make sure that looks okay on OBS. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. That way you guys can see both my DOMs. Still no setups. Kind of leaning short continuation, but I don't want to be shortening the hole. We've traded so far low at this point that taking shorts here involves so much backside risk. If this thing does decide to take the reclaim up, so I'm probably just going to be content watching it. However, I am watching for potential reversals. I think again, the two things I want to see for a reversal are large open interest, whether that be buyers propping the market up or trapped sellers. But it's got to be big. It's got to be like 400 or 500 lots. Anna Cooling talks about that in her book, where volume needs to confirm price. So I always struggle with going long on really sharp moves down, and my filter for that is just I want to see an order flow event. I want to see either a really big trapped seller or a really big buyer propping the market up. And so far, we have neither of those. Actually, so there's a little bit of buyer interest here. Let's see if they can keep the market propped up. I think there's 89, 94, 98. That's about 300. So if they can stay above 74.50, there could potentially be long. I also like that there's a change in character here. Let's see if they can test 74.50s and hold. It looks like they're not. They're blowing right through it. So those buyers are now trapped. There's a bit of a range setting up here, which I like. I want to see them continue to make higher lows. If we continue to make higher lows on this range with a bunch of bids at the bottom of the range, I'll definitely be stalking for long. But right now, again, it's putting in this kind of slanting motion. I want to see them break that. I want to see them respect this range. Nice move up. I'm going to look for pullback down to 73s. Putting in a new slip range here, which I like. Although my data is getting a little bit laggy. I'm going to stock a pullback down here to 75.50s roughly. Got filled, 75.50 long on micros. I'm going to risk the 5 points on this, just below 70. I will get out sooner than that, though, if I see price action I don't like. It's doing a decent job of respecting all this open interest down here. I want this to be the higher low, so I'm going to move my stop up a little bit. If they continue grinding down and they retest this down here, then I'm going to get out of the trade. This is a reversal hold. I want to see if they can continue channeling upwards. Still technically a higher low here, so I still like the trade. Let's see if we can get a break above 80, at which point I'll take a partial off. They're still getting propped up. There's a lot of bid open interest down here, which I told you guys earlier I really like. Nothing's 100% win rate though. Like these guys could get squeezed to the downside. That being said, it's still a decent trade. Decent expected value on it. Looks like I might get stopped out here. Yeah, it's gonna take my stop there. So it was a decent setup. I still think that was a good loss because my risk reward, I was essentially risking 5 points to potentially make 10. I would have taken my first partial off at 79, and then hopefully get a nice move up through the reclaim. But it just didn't work, and that's the nature of the game. Nice little defense of the lows there. I'm still not crazy about attempting this again because these buyers are still trapped. In order for me to be interested in a long again, I want to see these longs actually holding the market up. Because right now we're still violating them. And on the medium, on the 30-second, you can still see we're putting in lower highs. Still making lower highs. I want to see a clear break on a higher high. Do need some water though. Starting to get the pasties. They're still struggling with that 76. There's a break. There's technically a higher high, but I want to see that sustain. I'm not too interested in the reversal long at this point, just because I don't have the slip favor advantage or the range advantage. But I am interested in continuation longs if this move does sustain and we keep trading higher. Nice little slip range here with confirmation of an up move. I'm going to stock 76.50 for the continuation long. Got 76.25 filled. See if we can't get the slip range out of it. And I'm going to take the stop there. So it's just the ranges are being respected way too well today. I think that needs to be my priority. Watch those ranges. Because while it did look good from a potential higher high perspective, we're still at the top of the larger range. Break of fresh lows. So I think that range is gone. Could potentially be range expansion, but I don't have a setup for something like that. So I'm just going to watch. Take a look at the 10-minute chart here. See where we're at on the larger time frame. So a 10-minute chart could be a higher time frame breakout. That 94 level is marked out from earlier. That was like that was a resistance level in June, and it was a support level through July, and we just broke through it. And we broke through it pretty significantly too. We're almost 50 points below that support level. So it could be a downtrend day, but I'm not willing to necessarily place bets on that. We do have a potential change in character on the medium time frame heat map. We're getting our first green bar of the last 5 minutes or so. We did just have a huge block of sellers that got stopped out on the open interest. There's still not a lot here, though, as far as the setup goes. We could be rejecting off the range lows here, too, at 70s. If I were to take a reversal long, I would want to see, again, just a whole bunch of bidders holding the market up. Which there are a decent amount here, but I want to see more. I want to see like 500 lots. I would rather see it go without me than place a bad trade, a subpar setup. We are putting in higher lows, higher highs. We are starting to get some new fresh bids here. Retest to 65s. See if this buyer wants to re-engage at this price. Doesn't look like they're willing. At least not yet. That's some pretty decent buying. 1, 2, 3, 400 lots. 500 if you add up all the small stuff. If we continue respecting the slip range, I might be interested in a pullback to that 66 area. Nice little move up there on the bright green heat map. I would be stocking a pullback down to 68s now. But I don't really want to chase this much higher. If this thing goes without me, it goes without me. I'm not going to chase it. Pretty nice pullback here. Let's wait for a little bit of confirmation. I'm going to try it, 68.50 long. I want to see them hold all this open interest here. I don't want to see them accept below there. Nice little up shove. I would want to see this take back that range, that prior range, up to 78s. Doesn't mean I'll necessarily hold the whole trade there. I think I might take a partial at 74 if it gets there, but that's a long ways away. We could be sitting in this thing for a while, and it could not work. Nothing's 100% win rate. Other factors I like that we're pretty bright green on the heat map here. This is a pretty sustained bright green move on the heat map. We are slowly starting to accept into that prior range, and I want to see us hold up here. I don't want to see a sharp reject. If we sharp reject down to like 66s, 65s, then I think I would want out of this trade. But for right now, it is respecting these lows here. There's the test of 66s. Let's see if it holds. We're starting to get a little bit of red on the heat map. So I'm going to move my stop up to 65. If it breaks through 65, then I'm going to take the loss on this trade. And it looks like that's it. So I'm probably going to eat the red day here just because clearly the trades aren't working. I think I've lost pretty much every trade I've been in today. So I'm going to download my trades and get into review. Eat the red day, unfortunately. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. So down 297 across micros and minis. You can see here. Down 122, down 175 across both of them. And I would rather take that red day now than sit here and keep trading and making it worse. especially since it's Monday. I don't want to start on a Monday with a huge red day. Upload my trades. Filter for today's P&L. And then change stream. That's a look at my trades today. So, I mean, it's depressing that my P&L curve went straight down, but at the same time, I did a pretty good job with only having 5 executions today. My biggest problem right now is like going on tilt when I have a red day, and like especially if my first few trades are red, I'll just start clicking buttons, placing trades like an absolute madman. So if I can come off a red day like this with just 5 losing trades, I mean, it sucks, but I'll take it. Like that's a much better losing day than I've had in the past, where I'll just blow a single account, you know. So I'm gonna call it here. I'm gonna cut this stream, and then I'll probably come back in like an hour or so and do some review, and you guys can watch me do that. So I'll catch you guys in a little bit.